Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Career Evangelist Podcast. Since 1998, my guest has been in the trenches of performance advertising, managing over $2 billion in paid media, partnering with 9 and 10 figures brand, and turning market chaos into career gold. He leads 415 Digital and is here to show you exactly how to thrive when the ground shifts under your feet. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Borja Cuan to today's episode. Hi, Borja, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing well. In the intro, I know you experienced some situations whereby you lost a top client. I want to hear from you. What was your immediate reaction, and how did you navigate this challenging moment in your business?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Looking forward to this conversation. Yeah, I've been a digital marketer for 27 years and an agency co-founder for 9 years. And what you described, losing a client, is actually very common, right? When you have a business, as much as we all aspire to never lose clients, um, that's not unfortunately the reality, in particular when you're competing in this space, hyper competitive environment. There are a lot of digital marketing agencies, a lot of performance marketing agencies that are constantly approaching our clients, hoping to poach them away from us. And we understand that. That's kind of the business we're in. I, as a leader, have learned a long time ago that these things are commonplace. It's normal, and you're trying to do everything you can in your power and focus on the things that you can control to try to avoid those scenarios from happening, right? And so that's why we spend a lot of time in training and developing and customer service and building relationships with our clients and really understanding what their goals and objectives are so that we and are able to retain them in long term, because our business is really focused on results. And if we don't deliver results for our customers, we will likely lose them no matter how good of a relationship we have. So to go back to your question, what did I do when we lost one of our top customers? I, first of all, was unhappy, obviously not satisfied with the news, but understanding this is business, and understanding more on the why, I quickly transitioned to uh, what are we doing next? Like, how do we go about to recover this revenue that we will no longer have as a business? So the point I make is, my advice to entrepreneurs, business owners is, don't spend too much time analyzing the why. You want to learn from it. If there is a learning opportunity, sometimes when you lose a customer, there's absolutely no learning opportunity. Sometimes when you lose a customer, you do want to understand the why, because there might be opportunities for you to optimize your process or improve your service because there was a something that didn't happen that should have happened, right? But
Yeah.
no matter what path you take, you need to quickly adapt and recognize, hey, there's nothing we can do. Now it's in the I can't control this column.
Right.
Focus on what can you control and how do you respond to that. And the way I responded to that is say, okay, let me learn if there's something to learn from this. Let me make sure that we part ways amicably and professionally with this customer, because you never know, they might come back one day. And we've had that happen to us. And then I quickly transitioned to, now we need to find someone to replace this because this revenue is now lost for the business. So that's kind of where I go is, okay, I think what's the present and what's the future, right? This customer has made a decision. I'm not going to change their mind as much as I would like to. Now it's not inside my control. So let's focus on what can I control in terms of reacting to this sort of situation.
So that's very clear. That's about adaptation and focusing on what we can control. Thank you for sharing that, Boha. So now you've been in the performance advertising industry since 1998. What does performance advertising, what do they do? What does it mean? And what's the single biggest mindset shift that has kept you relevant in this industry for close to 3 decades?
Yeah, so performance advertising essentially means clients that we work with expect us to deliver results for them. So they're investing in media. We will decide where those investments are invested, what platform specifically, whether that's Meta, whether that's Google, whether that's TikTok, LinkedIn. There are a variety of advertising platforms that we have a choice to advertise on today as businesses. And so, what we do as media buyers and media planners is we decide for that client, where does it make most sense to invest your money and where will it bring the greatest return, right? And with all of our efforts, they're very measurable. So our clients evaluate success based on results. So whether that's driving sales, driving new customers, that's growing your pipeline. So there are a lot of metrics around success or evaluation of success, but it's all really comes down to you have to help my business grow. We don't care about how many people looked at our ad or clicked on our ad. We need people that are actually engaging with our brand. We need people that are taking action. They're filling out a form, they're buying our product, they're registering for a demo, whatever that action is. And so for us, unfortunately, we're in a business where you can't hide because you're being evaluated by a number. And that's how our clients sort of look at performance for us. Um, how we stay relevant is really being focused on that as our North Star. Performance is really driving performance is our North Star. We understand in order to build long term relationships with customers, we need to drive performance.
Yeah.
And how do we do that? Well, there's a lot that goes into it, but really understanding the businesses that we work with, the economics of those businesses, understanding what the goals and objectives are for those clients. So that means if you are a client of ours, I want to understand on day one, how do you evaluate me as a partner, as a vendor? What is that success metric, or what are those success metrics that you look at in order to determine if I am bringing value to your business? Once I am clear on what those are, then I will come up with a plan in order to try to accomplish those goals and objectives, right? And then why I want to do that on day one is so that anytime I can see how I'm doing against those goals, right? And
Yeah.
so if we focus on the things that matter, which in this case are the numbers driving performance, we will be very relevant to our customers and they will be with us for a very long time. And in addition to driving performance, it's really building deep connections with our clients. So, in addition to the number side, which is the most important thing, it is also really important to have good relationships with your customers. So, building connections with them, right?
Yeah.
Spending time with them,
Mhm.
right? Getting to know them. All of those things matter in order to be kind of have a complete relationship with them.
Oh, that's so good. So, you talked about understanding your customer and also adding value to their business. And I'll say, I think you've been doing a great job at that because I see that you are a Google Premier partner. What does earning this recognition, how does that translate to your business, or what kind of team culture is required to get this type of recognition in the industry?
Yeah, I mean, essentially it means we're in the top 1% of agencies in the world, right, that achieve this status. So that's really a small number of agencies. It's maybe a couple hundred, and there are many thousands of agencies that exist. So achieving that means we're meeting certain criteria in terms of how much money is being managed on the platform, but also there are other things that matter. And so I think, you know, it matters to us because Google is an important partner for our business, right? Many of our clients are investing in Google, and they're seeing good results. So we want to continue to invest in Google. We want to continue to have a good relationship with Google and work with their team closely on how to make our client engagements even better. And we have this relationship with other digital marketing platforms too, Meta and LinkedIn and TikTok. So we have good relationships with those. But in this case, Google, being a premier partner, really gives us access to resources on the Google side. So we have a team that we work with that also helps us in delivering service to our clients by way of bringing value that they can bring, right? Um, and I think, it also means a lot to the culture of the business because it's a testament of everybody's hard work. We don't achieve that status without the team's efforts every day in doing a good job for our clients, in managing these investments on the Google platform, being certified and educated on the Google ad stack, right? There's certain certifications we need to have that every team member needs to be Google certified in order for us to qualify for that program. So that's a really important part of being a media professional at our agency, is really being an expert on these different platforms and understanding how to use them every day in order to help our businesses scale.
That's excellent, Boha. Now, we live in an uncertain world. There are so many things going on all at the same time. AI is disrupting our entire world. So, for working professionals watching their industry changing so fast, what's the one thing that you tell them to start doing so that they can, I'll say, future-proof their career?
Yeah, I think uh, embrace these changes, adapt to them, and become educated, right? So, AI is obviously something everybody's talking about. Learn more about AI, right? There's a lot of information out there. There are a lot of courses you can take. Some of them are free, some of them are paid, but really take an interest in learning about these things because these are things that you will probably be using in a job, or that interviewers will want to know that how to use these tools, right? So my recommendation for anybody who's sort of coming out of school or soon to be coming out of school is really be informed and educated on what these are and how to use them um, to how to use them and how to apply them to the work, right? In some cases it's displacing jobs, right? It's replacing a job function, but in other cases it's really complementary, right, to what you're being hired to do. So in our agency, artificial intelligence isn't really taking a job away. Instead, it's something that's helping our team do a better job, right? So it's a tool. And like any tool, you have to know how, when, and why to use it. And you have to be careful and cautious with it because you could abuse the use of it, which could be a bad thing. But there are definite benefits to using them. You just have to, know how to use them, right? And then when to use them. And it's not a substitute, by the way, for not contributing because, like I said, with AI in particular, it's only as good as the inputs. And so you always have to be really good at the inputs, and then you really have to be looking at what the output is and do a lot of quality control because oftentimes it's not what you wanted it to be, right? So ever changing, but it's always been changing, right? I started when the internet was nascent in 1998, and the whole concept of internet marketing was a new concept. Google at that time was only a year or two old,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
So the internet's gone through stages, right? And so there's always these things that we want to adapt to. There's always cutting edge technology. There's always new things that are being introduced. And I always say, if you're good, you're good, right? So what I would want people to do is not sort of ignore these things, really just like be curious, always try to learn, always try to see how to use these things. And, my biggest thing is when I hear someone say, oh, I'm interested in this, when they come and interview at my agency, oh, I'm really interested in digital marketing. So
Mhm.
what I say is, that's great. I love hearing that. That's important. You have to be interested in the work you'll be pursuing. But then
Right.
I say to them, what have you done to learn more about internet marketing? And they say, oh, I haven't done anything. And immediately I disqualify them,
Mm.
because if you say you're interested in something, then you should have taken interest in learning more about that before you come to my company and interview. So if you're interested in digital marketing, my expectation is you would say, if you're a 21-year-old, because you have a lot of time,
Right.
is, you know what I've done? I've read this book. I follow this thought leader. I have taken these classes. Some of them were free. And you know what? I even invested $20 to take a class and become certified in this.
Yeah.
That shows me through behavior and action that you are interested. But what you should never do is show up to a conversation and say you're interested in something, but never have done anything to show me that you are really interested, right? It's no different than sports, right? If you like golf, are you practicing? Are you playing? Or are you just saying you like it? So that would be my piece of advice: is whatever subject matter you're interested in, start taking an interest now, because there's a lot of free information out there that allows you to get ahead.
Wow. That's so good, Boha, and thank you for sharing that. Speaking with you here right now, I'm thinking about career longevity. Because you started in 1998, many people they jump from one industry to another, not really developing the expertise needed to grow in their career. So, thinking about your journey. What does building a lasting career, whether in a corporate or agency environment like yours, what does it take to build this longevity in our career?
Yeah. I mean, my track, by the way, isn't the only track. There are many ways for someone to achieve success. And by the way, there are various definitions of success. So for me, it might be different than for you. But the point is my track doesn't necessarily correlate with others, right? Someone might decide to start in this industry and then pivot and be successful, and that happens all the time. I was more of, I started an industry that I had no experience in. I learned a lot, and I continued in that industry because it was ever changing. It was interesting. I was given opportunities, and ultimately it led to me starting my own business. So it worked out that way, that I stayed in the industry and I worked at only a few companies over a 17-year career. And maybe two companies that I work with over 17 years, where now, if you look at a resume over 17 years, you might see 17 companies, right? So my philosophy, being a bit more traditional, is ultimately, for you to have longevity, you have to have interest,
Mhm.
right? Because no matter what career, whether it's medicine, law, digital marketing, it's going to be hard, right? If you really want to ascend in your career and you want to be given more responsibility, a bigger title, more money, it only gets harder, right? And the challenges will be greater and the responsibility will be greater. So, how do you end up wanting to do what you do? It's because you like what you do.
Right.
It's worth putting up with all the hours and all the challenge and all the frustration, right? So I do what I do as a business owner, not because it's easy necessarily, but it's because I like the challenge.
Yeah.
So when I get bad news, it doesn't put me in a state of depression and it doesn't make me not want to do it. It motivates me. It motivates me now to find a new client, or if I get a piece of bad news, it motivates me to try to solve this problem or to move on to the next. So I think no matter what, if you want longevity in business, you should be enjoying what you do, because if you don't enjoy what you do, your quality of life will suffer. And that's not a recipe for a long term solution.
Yeah, that's so good. Thank you for sharing that. In the beginning, we talked about you losing a top client. On the flip side of that is losing your employee, your
Mhm.
talent. So I know most business owners, they do everything they can to retain their top performers. So how do you keep your employees motivated so that they can keep showing up and delivering value to your business and to your customers?
Yeah. And I'll preface it by saying no matter what you do, even if you do everything right, you still may lose your top employee.
Yeah.
So no matter what you do, even if you execute perfectly and give them everything they want, you still may lose them. So just know that there is no guarantees,
So
right? So
yeah.
all you're trying to do is focus on the things that increase the probability of that employee staying with you. And
Mhm.
that's really hard to do, but it's a requirement if you want to keep employees around, right? So what I say good leaders do to help retention is they invest time in their team. So
Ex-
sounds really easy. It sounds really easy, but really difficult to do, right? And this is where oftentimes leaders struggle. They're so busy with meetings and PowerPoints and other strategic initiatives for the business that they fail to invest time in the people. And when you do that, people don't like that, right? So one of the things that I do with my talent is I actually spend time with them.
Wow.
I get to know them. I want to understand what their goals and objectives are. They are here to extract value from me the same way I'm here to extract value from them. So I want to know, what is it you want to get out of this journey while you're here, right? Do you have aspirations for your career? If so, what are those? Is it having a certain title? Is it having a certain level of responsibility? What is the work you're doing? Is it making a certain amount of money? It's really understanding what it is they want to get out of this and then working with them to come up with a plan to help them get there and then tracking the progress along the way. So it's getting to know and spend time with your team, but not only about work. It's got to be balanced, meaning you also have to take interest in their personal lives. That's not to say you need to be best friends with them and spend weekends together, but it does mean that there are times that you shouldn't be talking about work and you should just be asking about how's your family?
Yeah.
What are you doing outside of work that excites you? Are you reading any books? Have you seen any films? Do you have any travel plans? What are some new hobbies you're picking up? Get to know them about more personal things because everybody needs to check out of work. And they
Right.
don't always want to be talking about work when you're with them. So find opportunities to break from that. Get a cup of coffee, go for lunch, play around at golf, whatever it is, get outside the office and understand a bit more about them so that it's not always work driven.
So good. Thank you for sharing that. So as we wrap it, what's one thing that you would like to share with my listeners today, that will help them to continue to build resilience in their career or in their business?
Yeah, I mean, I would say invest in yourself, your complete self, your mind, your body, the healthier version of you has more chance to get through what is going to be difficult, right? So your best version means you need to be selfish, which means you should invest in uh, yourself by way of sleep, recovery, training, um, uh, emotional, physical well-being, mental well-being. All of those things are really important. And oftentimes a lot of people neglect that, right? They say, I got to work, I got to do this, I got to do that. And that's okay. We all aspire to be successful. But you always have to set some time aside to invest in yourself, which might mean you need to be selfish, but there's a certain amount of time that you need to do that because that's going to make you better prepared for what might be difficult, right? So you talk about resilience, but I consider, having a business, there's a lot of adversity. There's a lot of, you get a lot of punches here and there. Like I want to be a good version of myself so that I can withstand that and still have a good outlook.
Good. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with us on the show today. Boa, as we finally conclude this episode, how can my listeners find you so that they can continue to connect with you and learn from you?
Yeah, my LinkedIn profile is probably the best. Borja Cuan, that's B for boy, ORJACUAN. You can connect with me there. I post a lot on LinkedIn. You can also visit our website, four15digital.com. That's 415digital.com, and learn more about our company, read some case studies. There's a contact us form there if you want us to reach out to you.
Thank you. We enjoyed this episode. Thanks for your time.
Thank you for having me.